Welcome to Unplugged with Tyler Winters and John Pearman. I'm Tyler Winters. John Pearman is here. He's right over there. This is a new type of bonus episode. You guys may have heard me try to promote this in the past, I guess. The Call the Pod feature. We haven't talked about it in a while. But after we had talked about it, we had some people sign up to come onto the podcast. And we're going to do one of those shows. And this is just where we talk to fans of the music scene and get to know them a bit more as fans of music and maybe what they do for a living. So we're all going to kind of get to know each other. Our first guest today is Tommy. Full disclosure.
Hold on. I think he's going to be calling in here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Oh, hey. Hey, hello, guys.
Thanks for calling in.
It's good to see you.
Real quick, before we get going, though, full disclosure, Tommy is a supporter of this podcast. And if anybody's interested in supporting the show, there's a support the show link in the show notes. But not only is he a supporter of the show, he's my actual foot doctor, which we'll get into. He's also been a lifelong friend of John and mine. We grew up together. We went to Catholic grade school together. Maybe we can even talk about that.
Oh, man.
John and Tommy went to high school together, Catholic high school together. And Tommy is a fan of the music scene that we talk about, and that's really why he's here. We're going to talk about some music, but we want to get to know Tommy a little bit more. We know Tommy pretty well, but we want you guys to get to know a fan of the scene. So, Tommy, welcome to the pod. And
Thank you.
Tommy, is it okay if I call you Tommy? Because I've called you Tommy since
I'm
I
going
was
with Tom.
You know what?
Yeah, let's hear this.
Clearly, everyone calls me Tom now, but you can tell a friend from a long time ago that will reference me as Tommy. So, of course, you guys are friends for a long time.
Okay.
I allow it.
All right.
If only there was something in between the two. There just really isn't.
You
I
can
could
just
say
drag
Tom
out
with two
the
M's.
M. Yeah. Tom.
I'm saying Tom with two M's. Tom.
That
Throw an extra H in there just for, to be fancy.
okay.
That's the European,
Anyways,
right?
And also before we get started, as I mentioned, Tommy is a foot doctor, a podiatrist. Tommy, I am going to have to make an appointment with you again. Can I make that appointment now, or should we do this off air?
Yeah, let me scoot this over and we'll
Just in
schedule
poor
it now.
taste.
All right. And John, I don't know how we want to start this show because it's basically our first one. But you think we should just ask Tommy about how he became a podiatrist and all of that?
I want to know.
Okay, Tommy.
I'm assuming there's some schooling.
Yeah, how does one become a podiatrist? How did you even figure that that's what you wanted to do?
And how does one feel about the metric system when they're a podiatrist?
And
you become very familiar with the metric system.
But feet are in the,
Well, that's true. That's a good point. Oh, man.
I thought about that all day, how to work that in.
How am I going to come up with the pun for this?
Yeah.
That's perfect. Well done.
Thank you.
all right, John, you can go.
I don't
now.
have that great a pun.
See you guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, George Costanza.
Right on top.
Yeah, exactly. So schooling for it, there's a lot of school. It is 4 years of undergrad. I do 4 years of med school. Technically, we're kind of like dentists in that we have our own school, but I went to school alongside med students. So, I still had full body cadavers. I still had full anatomy classes and, took a lot of the same classes, just the extra focus on feet. So 4 years of med school, and then I did a 3-year residency. So that's what trains us surgically and gets us used to seeing clinic patients and things like that.
Did you go into undergrad knowing you wanted to do podiatry, or was that something you figured out along the way that was which way you wanted to go?
So I kind of figured it out along the way. I thought possibly, something in the med field. I didn't know exactly what. This is where a story takes a turn. I don't know if you guys know this. A cousin of mine would volunteer at a haunted house. And he was like, dude, you should come out here and, help us out this haunted house. And we, do the decorations and scare kids and, things like that. So I said, okay.
This is the JC's haunted house?
No.
No.
This is the Boot
Carter's?
Crew. The Boot Crew one in Rochester.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's run by a podiatrist. So I met him and started talking to him. I thought, oh, that's interesting or whatnot. I said, yeah. I started shadowing him. Everything seemed interesting up until the point when one of the patients had to have all their nails removed. And so he numbed them up, and that was, sticking needles and toes. Was like, and then he just took a needle holder and just popped it off. It was like, oh my gosh, it gets hot in here.
Oh my God.
Was that part of the horror? The haunted house?
That was scarier than anything at the haunted house. Well, barely. 3 times I'd ever been grossed out. That time?
I've heard that the numbing of the nail is one of the more painful things you can do.
It's fairly intense. Fairly intense. We had a day, speaking of which, in med school, we had a day where we just sat there and stuck needles in each other to practice how to numb people.
In each other?
Yeah. That's how we learned.
Into the feet?
Yeah. So it's like, all right, someone's got some heel pain. Here's where you put it. All right, you practice on you, and then you shoot the other person up.
Wow.
So we'd sit there and, stick needles at each other.
Wow.
Here's how you numb a toe. Needle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you were totally grossed out by the toe removal.
Well,
So that
I mean,
didn't
like,
win you
temporarily.
Okay.
But
okay.
I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I thought, like, here's my thing. I'd never looked around and thought, like, man, what's up with that person's foot over there? Like, can I see your foot? Can you take your, like, I didn't care.
It's not a fetish thing.
It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish thing. But it's not like they ever grossed me out. If someone, like, stuck a foot in my face, I'd be like, whatevs, dude. It'd be like the same as sticking a hand in my face. So I think this is right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I've always felt I would make a good nurse because I'm really good with, like, fluids don't bother me. Like, if somebody vomits around me, I'm like, hey, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
I missed a calling.
You know
What if
what's
they
the
shit
thing?
their pants and you have to clean that up?
No problem.
Okay.
No
I
gloves
mean, well,
for me.
that's also why I'm a podiatrist, because I don't have to do that shit. Literally.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a podiatrist then?
Technically, you're a podiatrist when you graduate school and start residency. So
Okay.
the clock starts, and for me, it was 2014, so it'll be 10 years this year.
right.
Holy
Jeez,
cow.
Tommy.
A year for
Yeah.
each toe on a normal
I
foot.
know. Yeah.
You could count all the years
A
on.
normal parafeet.
Yeah.
Right.
So in those 10 years, I bet you've seen some pretty bad feet. First of all, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do I fall on that? And we could throw hip out the window. It's fine. It's fine here.
You know what? I'm going to be 100% honest, Ty.
Don't
I
remember.
I see you. I don't see your feet right now, which is a good thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I mean, like, I'll be honest, I see 2,000 to 5,000 toes a month. So it's like,
5,000 toes.
unless I'm seeing you everywhere, I don't remember your toes. I
Okay,
don't remember
fine,
your feet.
fine.
I hate to be, that sounds terrible.
Well,
I mean,
no,
my
it's fine.
regulars, I get,
I mean, you saw
it's
me under
super
the table
terrible, I
anyway,
get.
So.
There's certain instances, things that's happened, you don't forget.
Ugh.
Okay, I'll tell you this one.
Yeah, I want.
Yes.
We want to hear.
All right.
We want to hear the things.
And then I'm going to show you my terrible feet.
Yeah, stick them up in the camera. Let's see how it works.
They're bad.
I did residency up in Chicago. It was south side of Chicago. And I remember my first call in the psych ward. Someone had like a toenail issue or whatnot. So
dear.
I go up there. This is like my first year or whatnot. And you're trying to figure things out or whatnot. I go up there. And there's this poor egg. And, I mean, I know these people aren't in of sound mind. It's not really their, their fault. But
Right.
I go up there. And this lady's in there. And I go, what's going on? And she goes, my toenail fell off. I was like, it did? She goes, yeah, here. And like she took off her sock and the toenail was clearly absent. It looked okay, so I knew everything was fine. She's like, do you need to see the toenail? I was like, not really. And she's like, hang on. She goes back and reaches in her cabinet and pulls out her toenail. She's like, here, do you want this?
Do you
And I
want
go,
it?
yeah, I was like, no, I don't. She goes, okay. Ate it. And I was like, that's it. You're fine.
Oh my!
Swear to God. That was my first psych call.
Just ate the toenail. Was
Yeah,
it a
just
big
ate
toe?
the toenail. Yeah.
Oh,
Look up like fungal toenails or ram's horn nails or things like that. Look like that.
Oh.
nice, big, yellow, thick.
Yep.
It didn't look
flaking
like
off.
a plain potato chip. It looked like something more of a mesquite.
It was
barbecue.
it was more of like a a couple Fritos connected. You know how sometimes the Fritos
tangled,
they
sure.
clump? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was a
Mine look like
multi-Frito
Cool
layer.
Ranch Doritos.
Do they taste like it too?
Well, let me get Beth in here. I'll ask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was probably your worst experience. What's the worst feat that you've seen? Like what were the conditions? What happened to the feet? What's going on there?
Any frostbite, anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen frostbite.
Does
Usually-
that turn your foot black?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Just
And
like
it never
Mr.
goes
Deeds.
back?
Yep. Yeah, just like Mr. Deeds. Yeah.
It's dead.
And as long as it's not infected, technically it's not an emergency that you have to remove it right away. So every once in a while, we'll have someone that's like, no, I'm taking off. I think they'll go back. So we just leave it alone and tell them to pay it with something like betadine, no peroxide on there. And every once in a while, they'll just take off their sock and like a toe falls off with it. Eventually, it just auto amputates, falls off.
What?
So they'll like, yeah, take off their sock and there's like an extra black toe in there. So the fact that Mr. Deeds kept them that long is amazing.
No shit.
Yeah.
It just falls off. Does it bleed or anything? Or is it like...
No, because it's like everything's died there. All the blood vessels have died. It's
so they
just-
can't feel anything. It's just
At
like
that
carrying around
point-
extra weight.
Right. At that point, no, they can't feel anything.
Tommy, how often do you run into frostbite?
Not a ton. Well, especially lately, it's been so warm out.
Right. Yeah.
I've had 1 or 2 this year, but not very many. A lot of times it's diabetics. They can't feel. They get like bad infections. That's the biggest issue.
So those are the ones that you see the most?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my.
Especially as far as gross stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the bad smells, you pop the big pustule and like a bunch of pus spews out.
Now, are there feet cysts that can occur?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a couple have you heard of like a Bible cyst? There's something called a ganglion where we all have like joint fluid in our joints. And sometimes the capsule that holds that together weakens and forms like an outpouching, like a balloon type of thing, and then forms a cyst somewhere. And what they used to do is take a Bible and smack it to pop it. So hence Bible cyst.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, we'll cut them out or we'll, drain them with a needle or whatever.
Have you ever gotten squirted with one of those pussy cysts?
Oh, 100%.
Like in the face?
100%.
Catch some shrapnel.
100%. You learn very quickly, like, okay, so this is slightly off, but when you're trimming toenails, you learn very quickly when you're cutting, you shut up. Because sometimes,
yeah.
you'll be cutting and, one goes flying, you try to keep your mind, and you try to put your hand over it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always work. So you always shut up whenever you're trimming toenails.
Well, yeah, I'll say that too.
I've caught a toenail in the mouth. I've never caught, like, a pus pocket.
Oh, thank God. I think I'd rather,
Yeah.
if I had to choose, it would be a toenail. But
Yeah.
full disclosure, as I said, for everybody listening, Tommy's my foot doctor. I have I wouldn't say it's always bad, but just I've always had a case of athlete's foot, okay? And it's attacked the toenails over time. I can get rid of it pretty easily on the skin when it flares up, but toenails are tough because when it gets in the toenail, it's hard to clean out
Yeah.
underneath there. So I had Tommy actually trim my toenails, file them down, which it was really cool that he has this like electric filer.
Yeah.
But it really does the trick. But it seems like it's pretty damn messy because it pretty much your toenails are dusting all over the place.
Yeah, it's like you're in wood shop.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost kind of like I have one of those. I do a clinic in Carlinville, but the one that you saw me at my Springfield office, it has a suction there, so it takes some of that dust out of the way.
Yeah.
The one in Carlinville doesn't have that. So I feel like half the time when I'm leaving there, like, you ever seen the War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise?
Oh my God, yeah.
I feel like that's me when I walk in. I like shake and like all this like toenail dust and stuff.
That's
so it's
great.
always like shower.
You're like the kid in Sandlot that's stuck up there when the sweeper explodes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, there you go. That's probably a
Exactly.
better one.
When Tyler's talking about that, I picture the scene in Dumb and Dumber where they're having the montage of getting ready for their big night out, and
Yes.
they have the belt sander out for
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Lloyd's
for
toes.
Jeff Daniels, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's holding them down.
That's too funny. Yep. Sometimes it feels like that.
So Tommy,
Ugh.
before we get into the music part of this,
Okay.
you do surgeries, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you had to remove a foot?
So I usually stop as far as removal, like back by the heel. I've removed like 3/4 of a foot before. But as far as like removing the entire foot at the leg at some point, that we pass to ortho or someone else.
If you're cutting
For
off
the layperson, that's 9 inches.
Yeah.
if you
For
are,
the medical person, that's like 5 centimeters.
Yeah.
Whatever.
so if you're cutting off a foot, before you get to the heel, how do you go about? Is it sawing? You got
Paper cutter.
Paper cutter?
Yeah, just hold still, and then you just slam that sucker down.
It'd be the fastest way, I feel like.
Nice clean cut.
So how do you guys go about doing that?
It's actually fairly unscientific. You just kind of figure out what good tissue you have and kind of draw around some flaps for it. And then, so you'll cut that and flap some of that skin back. And then we have like a saw that just oscillates.
Good.
And just saw.
It's
Clean
pretty
everything
quick.
up, extra tissues, flap it together, stitch it back.
Nubbing to it.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's sad. You get you almost do get desensitized to it. Like, I swear, if I had like a third hand and it wasn't unsterile to eat like French fries in an operating room, I could eat some French fries while I'm sawing away.
Oh. Now, how messy is that? That's got to be pretty messy, right?
It depends. We'll normally put a tourniquet on there so it doesn't bleed very much, and hopefully there's not a ton of pus and things like that, but it can get fairly messy. Every once in a while, it's the stereotypical like you see in the movies where it's like blood everywhere and things like that.
There'd be a lot of blood vessels in the foot, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot in the hands and extremities. So
Yeah, there's
what's
a ton.
done with the blood vessels as you're cutting around them?
Most of the time, the blood vessels will just you try to preserve some of the more important ones, but there's a ton of small capillaries and things like that. Those you just sacrifice. Blood vessels are great about figuring out where to go afterwards, and they'll, reform connections or form connections with the skin or whatnot. If you're amputating things like that, it's not as big a deal. If we're preserving, say I'm doing like a bunion surgery or an ankle fracture, you know where they are and you just kind of move them out of the way.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. Tommy, I would not want to have your job. I know that for
It's
a fact.
boring.
It sounds pretty entertaining. Pretty exciting to some, but I don't think I'd be able to be chopping off any part of anybody. And I really wouldn't want to see feet, though, honestly.
Oh, I could have been a Civil War doctor. I could have been in the tent. We're taking it.
Just
Have like a little hacksaw and just
But
cut that one's leg off.
I think it's just a splinter, though.
I got shot in the other leg.
Oh, shit.
Shut up.
We're taking it.
Just get more whiskey. He doesn't know what's going on. Cut both.
We're taking both. Okay, Tommy, let's get into the music portion of this. So,
Sure.
First, tell us, who are your favorite bands?
So I try to cover a wide variety at this point. I listen to a little bit of everything. My band ever since high school has always been U2. Everyone feels a different way. I'm a huge U2 fan. Mm-hmm. But I love Metallica and Slipknot, and I love Green Day and Story of the Year. But I will also sometimes put on jazz, and
there you go, John.
I love Miles Davis and John Coltrane. Mm-hmm. And occasionally I'm in the mood for just like soundtrack type stuff. There's a few country artists that slip in. I listen to a little bit of everything. Most of it's rock centered though.
Yeah. That's kind of how I am too. And I will say, I'm glad you said country, because I feel like if it wasn't for you, Tommy, I probably would not have been as into country music as I sometimes go into country music phases here and there.
Yeah.
Like I'll listen to it for like a good 2 weeks straight or something like that. But I would credit you and your family for getting me into country music way back when, because we used to hang out all the time as grade school kids. And I'd always spend the night at your house. Your mom would always wake up early, just blaring like Clint Black, Garth Brooks, you name it.
Oh, yeah. Growing up, it was country and oldies. I mean, I love oldies too. We've developed a new appreciation for the Beatles, people like Simon, Garfunkel, the Spinners I love, you know, whoever.
Yeah.
Rubber Band Man.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
okay. So you said U2. You didn't happen to go see them at their little
did.
sphere.
The
You
Sphere.
did?
I
You did see that?
I was there night 2. It was September 30th. So we missed out that first night. Like Paul McCartney was there, Snoop Dogg,
man.
Lars
Damn.
Ulrich from Metallica was in
Oh,
the...
shit.
So it's like, we missed. And who was right behind us was Chris Kattan.
Are you serious?
So Chris Kattan was, well, I guess on the plane, he was there. We flew there together and he was at that show or whatnot. But like, I missed all those other celebrities and Chris Kattan was the one.
Yeah, well, at least you got Chris Kattan, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him at all?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, he's like, I think he's dating somebody in Springfield. So I think that's how that happened.
Yeah,
Which
he
is
shows up
random.
from time to time around town. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was going to pick up Emily some Starbucks, and I walked in and to pick it up because we had ordered ahead. And I look in, I'm like, I had to do a double take. I'm like, that's Chris Kattan sitting there. Like he was just like doing work on his computer or something. I don't know. Maybe writing a comedy sketch or something. Who knows? But thought that was completely random.
Well, I heard he went to the Apple Barn and made a hell of a mess.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Wait, for real?
Don't you remember his character?
Do tell.
He'd eat the apple all messy.
Oh.
Is that in like
Damn it,
Corky
cut that
Romano?
part out.
Corky Romano?
No, it was this SNL.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I remember
cut that out.
he was the Corky Romano guy, right?
Yeah. You guys
Yeah.
want some cookies?
Cookies, yes.
Okay, Tommy, I feel like that would have to be one of the coolest concerts you've ever seen. But just because it's in the Sphere, U2 is U2, of course. They're iconic.
Yeah, I will say, and I mean, I don't know how much you guys have heard about any of this or whatnot. The sound there is absolutely amazing. Like it is ridiculously crystal clear. And they just wrapped up their residency like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and they replayed on their Sirius XM like the last show. And like I've heard a bunch of live albums from whoever, from Green Day and Metallica and others, U2 ones and whatnot. It is ridiculously crystal clear, and the visuals are amazing. I wouldn't say it's my favorite U2 concert though.
Really? Okay.
Okay, so I'll tell you this story.
How many times have you seen them? Yeah, we have time.
This is that was number 9. If
Jesus.
you count, yeah, I know. And the sad thing is, like, for a U2 fan, that's like a lightweight. Like, there's so many fans
somebody's
that
been
they're
a fan
like,
since the 80s, so you can knock off, 30, 40 shows.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of them are like, this was my 56th show, and I saw him like 5 times I'm like, how can you afford that? Like, I've probably spent a small fortune seeing them 9 times.
Right. I'm sure you have.
I mean, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a stadium act since we were kids, so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
never had a chance to really see them in a small venue. That's probably the smallest venue you're going to see them in, to be honest.
Well, Bono, and I guess this isn't U2 proper, and this counts as one of my 9. Bono released a book last year. I think it was 2022, early 23, something like that. And he did like a little book tour, which was almost like a one-man stage show where he would like tell a story and sing a song and things like that. So that was in like a small venue, and we were like, I don't know, 10, 12 rows back, and that was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When you're watching U2, do you ever hope for a foot emergency where they're like,
We need
Does
a
anyone know a
doctor.
foot doctor? I'm here. No, I always crave, like, we try to get close enough, like, the point, you want the point, the recognition from them. And, like, they're one of those bands that I can sing every lyric to.
Yeah.
And so, like, you hope that, like, they're like, oh, yeah, you get it.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever gotten the point or no?
No, but Tracy did. My wife did. Ugh. Which, I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm like, he pointed in the vicinity, so it counts.
Yeah. I would have, like, pushed her out of the way and then gotten in front.
me?
Me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, who's he going to look at?
I remember, well, that's true. Yeah. I remember John, Ryan, and I, your cousin Ryan, for the people listening, and Ryan was the drummer in our band. We went to see Green Day at, where was that, John? The Pageant? Was it the Pageant?
Are you thinking of when we got pointed to?
Yeah. Well, Ryan and Trey Cool were like kept sticking their tongues out at each other or something.
Oh,
It was
that
really
been
weird.
The pageant, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it was really
awesome.
strange. But they had a moment. So.
It's nice when you can connect like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
I think we were disappointed we didn't get called up to because they always bring somebody up to play
Yes,
guitar.
that's
or something
right.
for a Green Day.
Yeah.
So
I've
you
always
guys weren't the ones.
No, I always wanted to, but now that we're like 38, I think we've aged out of the opportunity. Right?
Yeah, they usually pick younger people, I guess.
Yeah.
Which
Dang.
makes sense.
It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I know.
If you're wearing Kiss makeup, you might get just pulled up though. They seem to pull up people wearing Kiss makeup a lot. That's
Really?
something to think
Interesting.
about.
Okay.
That
well,
that is something to know.
hey, that
I wonder
would
if that
hide
works
age.
with you too as well. I don't know.
Maybe. What was Tracy wearing? Did she have face paint on or anything?
She did not.
No. Well,
She did not. So one of those rare instances without face paint that people get recognized.
Yeah.
so Tommy, since we're on the subject of concerts, you got any wild concert stories? What's the wildest thing you've ever seen in a concert? Whether that's a band, whether that's a fan.
Something in the crowd, something in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So this is the first one that comes to mind. We saw a band. It's like they're kind of a smaller, I think they'll get bigger, an Australian punk band called Amyl and the Sniffers. And before them, they had a guy called Bob Villain, who is you know Bob Villain?
Yeah, I've heard
Okay.
of Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Gotcha. So they were at a small gig in Chicago, and we went to see him, and it's like basically a floor show. And I remember right before Bob Villain's set, he gets up there and he's like, "All right, everyone, let's stretch or whatnot," because it got crazy after that. And I had no idea. I thought, okay, that's just part of his thing or whatnot. Tracy pointed her out to me or whatnot. There was this lady up there that, God love her, she looks like she just came out of like a liberal arts class or whatnot. Like very, small, you'd think benign or whatnot. And like the second the music started, she was like, pushing people out of the way, and she was like
Fists and
hardcore
elbows.
getting at it.
Holding her
So it was
own.
like, that's amazing. Like you never would, like if you would have saw her on the street, you never would have thought like she's gonna be the one rumbling the most.
No, you
in
just
that
think
pit.
big sweaty dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Smelly, kind of
yeah.
sweaty guys, yeah.
You can never judge a book by its cover, right?
Yeah. So you never know. But I mean, it's always fun. There's always the one guy just off to the side, doing their thing or whatnot.
Yeah. John's got a good wild story. Warped Tour.
Oh yeah, I love my favorite Warped Tour story. We were in the crowd and there's like Warped Tour, there's dads that bring their kids, so they're kind of tucked in the back.
Yeah.
The kids go up front. There's this big hairy guy, no shirt on, really sweaty.
It was towards the end of the day.
Towards the end of the day, I reached in my pocket. I had like 4 or 5 quarters, and I started sticking them to his back, like flinging them from 2 or 3 people back, and I got about 75 cents stuck to the sweaty back before you realized what was going on.
Did he realize it was you?
I was telling Tyler, I like to think that he knew, and he was just like crying, like he was really embarrassed.
There's no way he
Gotcha.
knew
Really
though,
damaging.
because he never looked back.
No, I
Ne-
made sure to get the coins at body temperature, so I'd hold them in my hand, try to get them to the right temp, and then just
Just to make sure they would stick.
yeah.
Do you think
You
they
want to
like?
get them a little clammy.
You think they like fell off once he got home and got in the shower?
I'm not sure.
I would like to
retrieved them.
think he had no idea. Guy in the car, and then like wake up, he's like, "Oh, I left some change in here."
Yeah.
Who knows? He may have needed that change.
He
You know?
may
I like to
have.
think
You
so.
may have saved his life.
Maybe
He might have
maybe
taken it and pumped it into the slots.
and
you know,
won.
after the
And,
show.
oh my god!
And
Won
hit a
like $1
jackpot.
million or something
Wow.
like that. He's like, whoever threw those coins on my back, God bless
God
him.
bless him.
You know what? I like to think that that's actually what happened. Now
Yeah.
it makes a really good story.
I'm just glad somebody else was there, so it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you're sticking quarters
Sure.
in an old
Yeah.
guy's back.
I was right next to you, so I saw the whole thing.
Have you guys? I gotta ask you guys this. Speaking
Yeah.
of concert, have you guys ever gotten like drumsticks and picks and things like that?
I've never caught anything. No,
You've
no
never caught
setlists or
anything?
I don't
Yeah.
think I have either.
I remember David Birdfeld had a pick from the Savage Garden concert at the
I was
fair.
thinking that too. Yeah.
And
No way.
he left it in the basement. I just started using it to play bass, and it was really too thin to play bass, and I just shredded it on
it
my
broke.
bass.
Did he ever like, hey, what happened to that pick? And you're like,
Oh, I don't know, man. Sorry.
That's funny.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, Savage
Yeah,
Garden.
you didn't know.
Who knew Savage Garden didn't use heavy-duty picks?
I would have never thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
It sounds like a heavy metal band now, though. I mean,
Savage Garden.
Savage Garden.
It's all in how you say it.
Yeah, I mean,
It
if
is.
you told a kid I went to the Savage Garden show, he'd go, "Oh, rad!"
Yeah.
He wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would know. Tommy, with how expensive ticket prices have gotten, especially over the last year and a half or so,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
what would you say is the most you have spent on a concert ticket, and what's the highest you'd go?
Oh, God.
Keep in mind, Ticketmaster and Live Nation are listening.
Yeah. Since they're listening, I would probably not go over $50.
So we'd like to go back to 1992.
Yeah, exactly.
Waiving all fees.
They probably weren't even that expensive in 1992, to be honest. 50 bucks.
I think for your larger acts.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I think, like, spending $100, maybe $200 if you saw, again, like, Michael Jackson or something
Or like the Rolling
that,
Stones,
you
I think
know.
were always that
Yeah.
expensive back
Yeah.
then, too. But
Yeah. So here's my thing. I've always kind of been of the thought that I can't take this money with me.
Okay.
So whatever.
So spend
There's always more to be made. This is that like
Okay.
I will because there's been a few concerts that like I was like, nah, I shouldn't go to that, and like I've always regretted.
Okay.
So go see the concert.
So what's your top dollar that you would
Oh God,
spend?
you're gonna keep asking.
I
was hoping to avoid that.
I'm really curious to know what
For
'cause
a single ticket or for like the whole
a single
you know,
ticket. A single ticket.
We've done 1,500 a single ticket. Something
Jesus.
like that.
Was that for you two or who was that for?
I think that was Metallica. Now, U2, it's hard to say because it was a package. So
Okay.
it was like a hotel and the tickets, and you got like to go like to this
Okay.
backstage area and stuff
Okay.
like that. That was the whole experience.
Okay.
But again, that was our vacation in a way.
Okay.
That was our first time out to Vegas. That was our first trip away, without the kids. In
Yeah.
5
And it's-
years or something like that. So
And it's
like,
Vegas,
we'll just,
I get it.
hard to put a price on it.
right. I mean, we only spent like 36 hours out there, but we did like the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show, which was fantastic, and went down Fremont Street and did the gondola ride downstairs. I mean, like while you're there, might as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's more than I'd want to spend. I know
Yeah.
that. I have a problem with, and I brought it up a few weeks ago on the podcast, but I'm really cheap, and I love live music, but I wanted to see Green Day in St. Louis, and the tickets that I saw for sitting way back at the amphitheater, like before you get to the right in front of the lawn,
Yeah.
like $260 for one ticket. And I'm like, I don't know. I've seen them 3 times. I'd love to see them a 4th time, but I just can't justify it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And to me, they're like the greatest live band I've ever seen play.
They are fantastic. I
So-
saw them on their American Idiot tour. That was the only time. I was going to go see them this year too. But it's one of those things like we have a couple other concerts lined up, and it's like I can't justify all of these. And now it's a priority of like U2 and Metallica are probably like my top 2. So if they're out, go see them. But otherwise, I'm trying to hit bands that I've never seen before.
Yeah. And that's what I don't like about ticket prices being as high as they are, because it does prevent you from seeing extra
Yeah.
bands throughout the year and supporting those bands. So, and especially for like the smaller bands, like if you're going to see U2
Yeah.
and Metallica, you're less likely to go see, Pale Waves, Stand Atlantic, or maybe
Right.
even Story of the Year. They're not
Right.
as big as they once were, but
Right.
it does.
It does. It makes you
affects
kind of
everybody.
prioritize. If everything was less expensive, then it'd be like, yeah, let's go this, and this.
Yeah,
As
right.
long as you can find babysitters.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
of
want to
course.
speak for
Us
everybody,
oldies.
but I'm too old for a festival. I'm not doing a festival anymore.
Yeah, I'd
An
have
all-day
to.
affair just to
I'd-
see one band or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like that's a lot of work, and yeah, I'm with you. I'm too old, too lazy to do that. it'd have to be like the right circumstances for me to do it. I don't know what those circumstances are, but
that's one thing, I'll be honest, that I've never really got to do and would be a bucket list to do at some point. But honestly, we'll probably be like the 60-year-olds after the kids have grown up or whatnot, still at the concert or whatnot, going to see the 2-day festival in the back or whatnot. But
yeah,
why not?
I feel like I say that I'm too lazy to go, but it would be cool to experience it. I feel like going to Lollapalooza, I think would be amazing.
Yeah.
And it's in Chicago. It's nearby.
Did you get to do Ozfest back in the day, Tommy?
Never did Ozfest. It was just a lot of like single individual shows. We did do a Point Fest one year, which in St. Louis, they have like a decent lineup. So I forgot when we got there, like 2:00, and we stayed till 8 or so and saw Story of the Year, I think, was there, and Sum 41 maybe.
Oh, nice. That sounds
Chevelle,
right.
Yeah, Chevelle was there. I forgot who else. Maybe Mudvayne. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tommy, we've had you for almost 40 minutes now, so I don't want to keep you too long. But I'm trying to think, what's a good question to round out with? Oh, what about, are there any albums this year that you're looking forward to, or any shows that you're looking forward to going to?
So, as far as albums, I don't know if there's anything great on the horizon. I was interested in Green Day coming out. Green Day was the only big thing on my horizon album-wise this year. I don't see anything that's really piquing my interest. I don't really care about the headliner. We're going to go see AFI's playing with 30 Seconds to Mars, and I don't really care about 30 Seconds to Mars, but it's always been a dream to see AFI, so
there you go.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, yeah, it's just always fun kind of like going back. And so Sum 41, speaking of which, like I came in on Chuck, and I know in one of the prior episodes, John, you were like, yeah, you were a big fan. That was the one that I was introduced to. So I went back recently and listened to some of their older albums or whatnot. I'm amazed at how well they can hop between punk and metal. That's amazing. And I know that's like the focus of their new album, but like that's just fantastic how they can do that.
Yeah, I think it just goes to one, they grew up on metal. So I don't even know how they got into pop punk to begin with, but they grew up on metal, so they have that aspect already. That's how they started playing. Yeah. But yeah, to infuse all of it together, because once you know that, you can actually kind of hear it in their like pop punk songs too.
Sure.
Right.
But the crazy thing too is like to be accepted into those different genres, because they're vastly different from each other. But they pull each one off so well.
Okay, I got a question for you guys before we go though.
Yeah.
What's one of your more embarrassing concerts that you've been to? That like you may have loved, but like again, we're all kind of like, whether it's rock or scene fans or whatnot. What's one that like people would say like, I can't believe you've seen that?
Oh, I mean, we went to like 98 Degrees and Christina Aguilera at the fair just to meet girls, because Ralph would get us in free. So
there you go.
We did go to those.
We didn't pay for it.
We got dragged to Dave Matthews a few times too. I'm not a big Dave Matthews guy, but
we paid for Dave Matthews though too.
Yeah,
well,
so
kind of, sort of.
That.
But I thought that was a fun concert still. The Christina Aguilera one is the one I initially thought of, but
I saw the Ninja Turtles at Six Flags when I was a kid. That's embarrassing. The From the Sewers tour.
No, those were awesome back in the day.
From the Sewers.
But you were a kid.
Yeah,
you didn't pay for it, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, like when you're a kid, we've all saw like the whatever Disney on Ice or whatever on Ice, Lion King on Ice.
Yeah,
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
They all skate.
Yeah, I guess I would have to say the Christina Aguilera one, because I can't think of any that I like actually paid for. Like, really,
I'm just embarrassed how much I sang along.
Was it
some of those boy bands?
Yeah, it was 98 Degrees and Christina Aguilera.
All right.
Some of those like NSYNC had some hits. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like, I mean, I know that's not 98 Degrees, but some of those boy bands, they had some hits. See, I mean, it's hard not to sing along.
Hey, you guys saw that NSYNC's back, right?
What?
or on stage
Yeah,
together. Or
they
something,
just
yeah.
reunited at JT's one of his one night special shows, and I think they did a medley of songs or something. But
No way. I did not see that.
no, I think they're actually like reuniting.
I mean, like, I feel
think
like
that's
tickets are going to go off. Like, it'll be
yeah.
like Taylor Swift level, like,
Mm-hmm.
insane. Yeah.
Except now it's I know Taylor Swift's like older, but NSYNC is older than Taylor Swift, and the fans are older than Taylor Swift fans, so
And we
they
have
have
more
money?
money
To spend.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, people will pay it.
Yeah, I think they're back together.
Okay, after that, after NSYNC goes by, then we'll all agree to not go to concerts, so tickets go down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you ask me what my most embarrassing ticket is. It might be the NSYNC one, the future NSYNC ticket that I buy.
There you go.
Might be.
I think that's not embarrassing at all. Like,
I'm looking forward.
you know, sometimes those type of shows can surprise you. We saw
absolutely.
Madonna, because Tracy's a huge Madonna fan. I thought I'll go. And like back then I was like, whatever. She was a great performer.
Yeah.
Like, I give it to her. She put on a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's calling out people in wheelchairs, I guess, for not standing up. Did you guys see that?
No, I did not. Yeah.
It
God love
was.
her. I think she's
not, she didn't know, but
That was a bad look.
yeah, like
Yeah,
oops,
yeah.
like insert
She
foot
did it
in
again.
mouth. Hey, that was a podiatrist joke. That's a good one to end on.
There you go.
Hey, you see that? You see
Wrapping
that,
it back
John?
around. Look at that.
All right, Tommy. I think we will let you go, though. I do want to say thanks a ton for coming on and hanging
Yeah,
out.
it was
This
fun.
was fun.
You're on the pilot episode.
Yes.
So they'll only get better from here on out. But yeah, so
Will
for anybody
they?
listening, if you're interested in coming
Can't
on,
guarantee that.
that's true. If you guys are interested in coming on, hit up allpunkedup.com/call the pod. I really think, I'm hoping that is the URL. If not, the correct one will be in the show notes. So, Tom, thanks again. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it was
Tom.
great talking to you guys.
See you, Tom.
See you later.